Hey y'all, and welcome back. Today we will be reacting to and reviewing another Slapped Ham compilation titled This Creepy Viral Clip Makes No Sense. So let's try to shed some light on this situation now, shall we? Let's begin.
A viral TikTok clip has viewers divided. Is this just a nervous hound or proof that some antiques really do carry something extra home with them? In a video posted by antiques collector and artist Rebecca Jones at Snap by Beck, her dog Georgia can be seen standing at the edge of the room, barking anxiously at a 100-year-old oil portrait hanging on the wall. The video quickly racked up over 2.3 million views, with thousands of commenters insisting Georgia was picking up on something paranormal. In a follow-up post, Jones revealed she'd actually doubled down, purchasing the companion portrait of the woman's husband after the Etsy seller reached out, offering the matching piece.
I bought her first. Did not realize her husband was sitting in the same Etsy store.
She joked that perhaps Georgia was barking because the wife missed her husband, not because the painting was haunted.
I figured maybe that's why my dog Georgia was barking at her. She was miserable without him, so I doubled down and bought him too. Or maybe I made her extra miserable by bringing him home.
Now, with both portraits, the husband and wife, hanging side by side, Jones says she sees wisdom and kindness in their faces. So what do you think? Was Georgia warning her owner about a haunted heirloom, or just another overprotective pup with a flair for the dramatic?
Now, I have this feeling with animals, and I guess because I grew up with them a lot, I've noticed that they kind of tend to sense things that us humans can't sense. Think about it. Their hearing is so much better than ours. Their sense of smell, even their eyesight on certain animals can be even better than ours. And I've always noticed too that they are more in tune, more empathetic to people's emotions than most people would give them credit for. I mean, perfect example could be my cats in general. There's times where I'm just not in a good mood. I don't feel well, or something might have happened, and they can sense that. If they notice you're angry at something, they kind of steer clear of you a little bit. Or if they notice that you're not feeling well or a little sad or lonely and things like that, they'll come and comfort you. And you may not even know that. You just feel like, this is a crappy day. I'm going to just go to lay down for a little bit or something like that. And then they'll come and follow me on the bed, and I feel better. Especially if one just wants to lay on you and just cuddle and wants to be loved on. So I have a feeling like, I don't know her animals personally. I don't know how she treats them or anything. But I have a feeling, that this right here, it was probably something the dog was picking up on, honestly. At this type of moment, I don't know how, like I said, I don't know how they treat their dogs or how their dogs act in, regular time. But if she took a picture, video of this and posted it and everything, you can kind of sense that this isn't something on the normal, So I believe that the dog did sense something. I mean, I'd like to know if once she purchased the other piece, if the dog was still acting the same way or if it stopped. Because maybe it sensed, okay, this isn't right, this needs something else to it. And then when the picture of the husband came into play, it stopped. I'd like to know that. That's what I'd like to know more of, because we need a follow-up piece on that, because it'd be something that would be interesting, and it would also kind of explain a lot in terms of an animal's empathy and their senses. That's just my personal opinion. If you don't like it, then just leave a comment below and tell me what you think. You think that maybe this dog maybe smelled something on the outside, or that wasn't normal, or it could just be the scent of the painting. Who knows? But I just always know that it seems like animals can sense things a lot more than humans can. And if you do have a story about your own animal and they sense something kind of strange and everything, leave that one in the comments below too. I love hearing stories about animals. Absolutely love them. Grew up on a farm and always had animals nearby. If it was cows, pigs, sheep, goats, they were always there. Dogs especially. Even had a good friend that was a turkey when I was younger. That's another story for later, but yeah, I feel like they noticed something there that wasn't quite right. So, sorry, before I go and start going on about animals, because I absolutely do love them, let's move on to the next one, shall we?
This eerie image comes from Boksburg, Gauteng, South Africa, where a father says his 3-year-old son accidentally captured something chilling on camera. According to the father, his son had been playing with the camera trying to take a picture of him, but the boy didn't realize the front-facing camera was on. In a matter of seconds, he snapped several random photos. When his dad took the camera back and began deleting the blurry ones, he reached the 3rd photo and froze. Behind his smiling son, half hidden in shadow, is the unmistakable image of another face. The father insists that only he and his son were home at the time and that the person in the picture is no one he recognizes. When shared online, the photo quickly spread through local Facebook groups, with commenters divided, some calling it a simple camera glitch or motion blur, others claiming it's a spirit or presence caught mid-manifestation. Whether it's a trick of light or something truly supernatural, one thing is certain. This accidental selfie has unsettled thousands, leaving both skeptics and believers wondering who or what is standing behind the boy.
Now, this one is pretty creepy. I mean, you don't expect to see some random silhouette of somebody you don't know alongside the picture of your own child. Now, just right there would probably be one of the most horrifying things to ever witness as a parent, besides some other things that I don't want to get into. But still, this is pretty terrifying. But, I'd like to know what the father looked like, just simply because that was pretty unnerving, especially just that set face on the person behind the child. And what weirdly enough is, it looks like maybe the child took the picture in front of some sort of quasi-reflective surface, like a TV screen that was off, right? Because you do see, if you look closely at it, kind of go full screen on this picture, and you'll see where it looks like a slight reflection behind it of a third person, right? So I'm wondering if that's the father. It's very vague. It wasn't as clear cut as the son, obviously. Wasn't as sharp of a image as the person behind the son, but you could see it kind of blurred and soft. It was lighter colors in that dark screen that was behind him, because it looks like it was a TV screen or something, or maybe even, I can't think of anything else. My mind keeps on going to a TV screen, and it's just very, very strange on this one. And you could tell that it doesn't look like it was imaged in there, because especially with the way it was behind the child, it would have been very hard, unless the person that they imaged into that picture had on dark clothing. It'd be very hard to be able to kind of like superimpose that child like that image behind the child onto a picture with the child, just simply because you would see the extra like blurring and everything going into the child's image as well. So, and I don't think it was motion blur, because that was just too much of a sharp contrast on the face. You could even see the way the person had their lips pursed and everything, that it was very, very strange. I mean, what do y'all think? Honestly, what do y'all think? Because it's like I say, it's terrifying to think that something like that would be behind a child in the first place, especially if you didn't know who the heck they were. And it's just very, very odd to me. But let me know in the comments and we'll move on to the next.
This next one is something straight out of a nightmare. A haunting image titled Final Frame that appeared on a hard drive bought at a flea market. The photo shows what looks like a pale, featureless mask, smooth and expressionless, with faint etchings carved into the surface. Beneath it, a cryptic caption reads, "You sought this." The Redditor who found the file, Mirror Teeth, posted it to Mysteries of the World asking if anyone recognized it, perhaps from a film, short or art project. They wrote, "I bought a batch of hard drives at a secondhand store and came across this image titled Final Frame. I'm trying to figure out if it's from a movie or if it's something amateur." At first, it seemed like an unsolved oddity, until a few days later when a new YouTube account appeared, posting a single video titled "You Tried Looking for Me, and Now I'm Looking for You." The clip goes for 1 minute and 42 seconds and has a strange message baked into the captions. The entire message reads,
"You think this is a video. You are mistaken. This is a surface, a skin, and underneath, it breathes, like you. There is a word I cannot speak. It tastes of static and forgotten things. No help, please. Your world is a dream, an old, repeating dream, and the dreamer is growing restless. Such a good thing. You should be happy. Do you feel the space between the seconds? Do you feel the friction of your skin? Search a miracle. Not for a door to open, for a mind to pause. Your face is a mask you forgot you were wearing. What will you see in the mirror when it finally peels off? Remember, you sought this."
The video abruptly ends there. No credits, no metadata, no trace of the uploader's origin. Now, theories online are split. Some users believe this could be the launch of a new ARG, an alternate reality game, possibly an experimental horror series hidden across multiple platforms. But others think it's something far darker, a piece of cursed media or a warning intentionally buried on those drives for someone to find. So far, no one's managed to trace the file's source or the original creator of the YouTube video, and that closing line, "You sought this," feels less like a title and more like a threat. We'll keep watching this one to see what surfaces next.
Now, this is downright eerie, and this is one of the reasons why I am kind of opposed to buying, especially electronics secondhands, especially like flash drives, hard drives, things like that. I'm afraid to do that secondhand. I mean, it would be cheaper, granted, but just you don't know what's on them. I mean, yeah, sure, they could have been wiped clean, but there's sometimes when there's encryptions and things like that you can't get everything off of it. And, it's just, that's kind of unnerving. I mean, think about it. If they didn't find what they found there, that's odd in and amongst itself, that what it was. kind of creep me out and everything a little bit, you know, because it's just very odd. But, you know, just think of other things that you could possibly find on secondhand hard drives. I'm not going to go into detail, but let your mind wander a little bit on what else could be on hard drives you find secondhand. That's what's unnerving. I would never do that. Anyway, let's go from the hard drives onto the video. Now, I'm wondering, with this type of thing, if somebody was just, you know, because there's trolls about, especially if he posted this on Reddit to begin with, about the hard drives and everything, and seeing if anybody knew any information and things like that. I know how Reddit is. I know how Reddit is, and I feel like the video that was added to it was just a troll, and it was there to kind of scare him up a little bit. That's just saying. That part right here, the video doesn't unnerve me as much. I mean, yeah, it's creepy, but I know how many trolls are out there. I know how many people would love to do stuff like that, right? What's unnerving to me, though, is the hard drive more than anything. The hard drive, that is the craziest thing. I could never do that secondhand. I'll shop at thrift shops before. I've gone to antique shops, things like that. Picked up a little things along the way, but nothing electronics. That's just a little unnerving. Unless it was a video game, and then, you know, there's a difference with that. Because it's already set up. You can't really add too much to it unless it was a rewritable. And I digress with that. Unless you got somebody who's really, really crazy and sat there and changed the disc and set it up to look like the video game, then you might have some problems. Now that I think about it, I don't think I'd get any of that from any of those places. I'll just pick it up new. What y'all think? Leave it in the comments below and we'll move on.
Is this a closed triangle?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I thought...
A recent episode of the Danny Jones podcast left viewers gobsmacked. Guest Dahlia Burgoyne, an energy arts trainer who teaches mind sightseeing without using the physical eyes, agreed to a cautious step-by-step demo under studio lights with multiple host-supplied blindfolds and eye patches.
So these are all blackout masks.
Yeah, I can't see anything. It's completely black.
Yeah, so these are all different ones. They're all blackout.
The ground rules were simple. New masks layered over hers, no touching the test items, and clear on-camera lines of sight for the audience.
Well, this one right here is a closed square.
Yeah, that's a black square.
Okay, let me shake. This is a closed circle?
Yep, that's right.
Okay. Oh, is this like a open plus?
Open plus sign, yep.
Okay. And this one is, what is this? It's a closed something. Closed square?
Yep.
Okay.
With her eyes fully covered, Dahlia identified simple shapes that were held behind her head, saying she uses different windows around her head where perception is clearest.
Yeah, so there's, like, that was the clearest window, was on this side right here. Mm-hmm. I also have one here and one up, like, I have two up here too. And
wow.
So, yeah, so that one was the clear. I probably could have seen over here too, but I'm like, I don't want to, like, mess it up right now. But
She then read book titles and words she had not been shown.
So this says Area 51. It says, what is that? Uncensored. What did that say? Something top secret military base.
Yep, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
My God.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this one is windows open. It says Mother of God.
Yep.
Okay.
On a studio computer screen, she read typed phrases.
Oh.
He hasn't typed yet. Okay.
Hi, Dahlia.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
Big flower.
When objects were placed behind her, she reported shapes and sometimes colors, but noted her back windows were less precise, confusing blue-green and red-orange at times.
Yeah.
So sometimes in my back windows, if you give me like words or something, I I can know exactly what it says, and if I look at it, it looks like Greek, and it's very weird.
Dahlia explained that her ability activates with light exposure and can be trained in others, sighted and blind, beginning with light-dark discrimination, then color, then letters.
Once you put it, so you'll see when we're kind of teaching it, you see that we put a flashlight in you, and that's what activates it. Or going outside. You might need to be around people that can do it just to have the belief strong enough, but that's what activates it at first.
The hosts used their own blindfolds, taped patches, and added layers on air to reduce the chance of a prepared party trick.
Yeah, this is another mask. Yeah.
Items were also brought from another room and kept under the desk until shown.
I'm seeing something, but is it like, can you move it again?
He's moving it.
I'm definitely seeing it, but I can't make it out right now. Is it like blue or green?
So who is Dahlia Burgoyne? An energy arts practitioner who teaches Mindsight extraocular vision and collaborates with researchers. She says she first developed dark walk navigation, seeing outlines while blindfolded, later discovering light as a key trigger for full color and text perception. She claims to train both sighted and blind students. Her public demos include Contact in the Desert and local TV appearances. Dahlia also highlights her daughter, Lidovina, whom she describes as a non-speaking autistic telepath, subjects that she says are under ongoing research with several labs. What aired is undeniably impressive viewing. Dahlia read text and identified shapes while apparently blinded, and the hosts tried to close obvious loopholes. Still, the gold standard requires controlled, replicated, peer-reviewed testing. Until then, the episode is a well-produced case study, a compelling prompt for deeper research rather than a final answer on human mind-sight. So what do you think? Is this the real deal? Let me know in the comments.
It says cell. It says a shadow. Wait. Yeah, shadow and cell.
Shadow cell.
Mm-hmm.
Before we go into this one right here, I got a little story time for y'all. It kind of relates to this right here. So, just sit back and relax for a little bit. I can't remember the exact age I was. Probably about anywhere between 10 and 13, right? And, it was Halloween, and, Halloween was a big to-do back in the day, especially in the 90s, 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Halloween was a big to-do. And I went to this church service. It wasn't really the church service. It was more for, like, the kids and everything. We went to one of the older adults' houses and everything, and they had this little Halloween party for everybody. And one of the things they did was blindfold people, and you had to go to the table. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? You had the peeled grapes. It's supposed to be eyeballs. Spaghetti was supposed to be worms. Stuff like that, right? Well, anyway, it was, they had all the kids already blindfolded in a line before they set up the table and everything, because they had everything underneath the tablecloth. And then once everybody was blindfolded, that's when they put everything out from under the table and put it up. And, well, none of us knew what anything was. You hear people, in front of you, because it was just like, touching stuff and they can't see it and everything. It was just they found it absolutely disgusting, right? Well, when it was my turn to go up, I just had this sense of what things were. So, of course, when I sat there and I put my hands in, I'm like, oh, grapes. Oh, spaghetti, and people were, I had some of them just sitting there like, ew, ew, ew. They had their eyes up, because once they got finished with the table, they were able to take the blindfolds off and everything. And then, I don't know, I was being a little hellion back then too. So when everybody would try to make a comment like, ew, I can't believe you're touching worms, da 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 da. Well, I took a handful. I'm like, this is spaghetti, and threw it at them. So, I mean, yeah, I was being a hellion right there with it and everything. But, I was able to sense what exactly was there. They didn't say anything of what was on the table. They just had us blindfolded, and they were like, oh, I want you to touch certain things and kind of guess what it is. And that's what I did. And, some of them, they got a little upset. They started trying to chase me. I still had the blindfold on. And so I ran around the whole yard. Mind you, I'm missing trees, I'm missing vehicles and everything with this blindfold on. And it's already dark. You can't see nothing in a blindfold. There was no light, like, sunlight or anything that would kind of give you a somewhat quasi sense of vision and everything, even though it'd be like really muted and everything. There was nothing like that. It was a dark night, blindfolded, and I'm running around the yard and I ain't hitting anything. I just had a sense of where everything was. That was many, many years ago. And I still sometimes, I have a friend who will ask me, oh, guess what I'm thinking right now? I'll stop, close my eyes, and I'll tell them, okay, make sure you send out an image when you do it. And they do, and I'll guess it. So, it's not something that I completely say that, oh yeah, I have these psychic abilities or anything like that. It's just I have a higher intuition, I guess you could call it. I'm not claiming to be psychic or anything like that. But, there's sometimes when you close off a sight or any sort of senses that you have, like the sight, especially, all your other senses kick in, and you're going around and relying on those senses more so than the one that's enabled, so to say. Now that little story is over with, you see how it relates to this. Now, most people would say, oh, well, that's just a crock of shit. They already had everything set up before. But, I feel as though this could truly have happened because I've had it happen to me. Maybe not to the extent that this woman has done it, but I've had this happen before. If any of y'all have had it happen before, let me know in the comments below. Or if you know somebody who knows how to do this type of stuff and it always kind of creeps you out a little bit, let me know in the comments below. Because, I have a feeling like sometimes there's a little extra, especially when one of your senses is shut down for a little bit. Your others kind of go together and work together harder to replace the one sense that is missing. I mean, it happens even with people with, physical disabilities, such as they lose their sense of sight or they lose their sense of hearing, and everything else comes into play and goes so much more stronger, and they're able to do, everything that we're able to do on a normal daily basis. So, I feel of it more kind of in a sense of that. And it's more of like a training type thing, Well, anyway, before I go on to a full blown out rant, and I did tell you a little story time with this one, let's move on to the next.
Ghost hunters in Ireland say they've captured the manifestation of a spirit at one of the country's most haunted sites, Kinnitty Castle, County Offaly. During a public investigation in the banquet hall, a guest snapped a photo that Paranormal Supernatural Investigations Ireland, PSII, believes shows Hugh the Monk, a figure long linked to the castle's legends. According to co-founder Richard Morrison, the team led a 20-person night hunt, 15 guests, 5 investigators, guiding participants to areas with high electromagnetic readings and instructing them to take photographs. The group favours spirit photography over traditional EVP work. We'd rather have visual evidence than go through audiology, Morrison explained to the UK's Sun news outlet. Moments later, a guest's camera captured what the team calls a clear manifestation shown to all present on the spot. Morrison says the location isn't random. The banquet hall reportedly sits above monks' graves, and the team suspects that's where the activity concentrates. The image has kicked off fresh interest in Kinnitty's ghost lore and in PSII's new transparency drive, which brings the public along on investigations to witness methods and evidence firsthand. With another public session planned, the team is heading back to see if Hugh the Monk will make another appearance in Ireland's most haunted castle.
Now, this is the first time I've ever seen a manifestation picture of Hugh the Monk. I know a lot of times when I've seen people go to this particular castle in Ireland, they've tried to contact Hugh the Monk, and most of the time it's like, knocking, things like that. Or disembodied voice coming up on EVP and everything. But, it's interesting that they don't use EVP or electronic voice phenomenon to be able to get evidence and everything, which I think is really good, because sometimes, a lot of times, you have to really, really strain to be able to hear exactly what is called on EVPs. Most of the time it'll come up more like real soft. You can't understand it. It may be, words could be misconstrued and things like that, because it could have been something totally different than it saying get out. It could have been move over, because it's so low and so soft that you can't hear it, right? I know I'm using whispers, going back and forth, going real soft like this, and then going up like this. It makes you kind of, you'll see where you have to turn and adjust the volume or try to strain to hear a little bit more. So I'm trying to give examples of the reason why sometimes EVPs can be a little hard to deduce. So it's interesting that they did use photographic evidence, and I thought it was really nice. I mean, I hear this place is very, very haunted. I mean, all of Ireland, in my opinion, especially with the stories I've heard, the different castles and everything, there's a lot, the whole island is pretty much haunted, right? I mean, if any of y'all who are listening from the UK and are actually from Ireland, let me know in the comments below how haunted really is your island, because I've heard a lot of things, and with some of my ancestry being from there, some of it is kind of passed down a little bit, especially with some of the things that family superstitions and things like that too. So I mean, there's a lot of things that side of my family I learned from them on the superstitions and everything, especially my grandma. My grandma was, her family came over from there, and they're part of the original peoples that used to live in Ireland, as opposed to the Anglos, the Saxons, the Scandinavians, things like that, So there's a little bit more lore there. There's a little bit more superstition there that comes from the original peoples. So I'd just like to know, how haunted is your island? But anyway, it's just always interesting to see these type of photos and everything, especially with manifestations. I mean, I've caught a couple myself. Unfortunately, these were on older cameras, and I don't have those pictures anymore. So and also I had a really, really good one over Andersonville, but something happened with the camera, and it ended up just basically deleting everything afterwards. So yeah, there was a little crazy with that. So I don't have the evidence, because if I did, I would definitely show y'all. I would put posts on it like crazy if I had them still, but unfortunately they were gone. When, I don't know if it was, I think it was one of a child I was looking after and everything, and they ended up playing with the camera, and I was like, just be careful with it, and somehow ended up deleting the whole thing. Yeah, mind you, that was back early 2000s, early 2000s and everything, and that just lost a lot of evidence. So it sucks, but you know what, we can always make new memories, right? So let's move on to the next one, shall we?
So I'm on my way out to the cemetery to visit Stacy's chair.
Back in 2020, Michigan real estate agent and TikTok creator Marshall posted a lighthearted video exploring a local urban legend, the Eerie Witch's Chair in Brookside Cemetery. What started as a playful ghost hunting skit would years later spiral into something far stranger.
Just one more time, I'm gonna sit down in the chair. You know, hang out right here. What? Where's that?
The Brookside Cemetery, established in 1853, is home to the old Stacy family plot. At the back of the grounds sits a granite chair marked Stacy, long rumoured to be cursed. According to legend, Mary Stacy, the judge's widow, visited her husband's grave every day for 17 years, always sitting in that same granite chair. Locals say anyone who dares sit in it soon meets an untimely end. The story darkened further when the Stacy's daughter Loanna, known around town as a spinster, was later branded a witch. After her entire family passed, illnesses and livestock deaths plagued the community, all blamed on Loanna. Her ghost is said to wander both the Stacy mansion and the cemetery, still bound to that granite seat. Marshall's original 2020 TikTok was clearly a skit, jokingly overlaying a ghostly figure over footage of the chair.
So you guys, nothing to worry about. I told you, it's just a big debunk thing. That's it. What are you gonna do? Just one more time, I'm gonna sit down in the chair. You know, hang out right here. What? Where's that?
But by 2023, life for Marshall and his family took a chilling turn. Strange occurrences began inside their home. Objects disappearing and reappearing, loud thuds from the basement, and shadowy movements caught on their Ring camera.
I'm outside because I don't want my family to hear me talking about it. They don't know anything about this. I caught something. Take a look.
One clip shows a mysterious figure standing motionless at the edge of the family's property for several minutes before slipping away.
They just stopped and stared at the house and then continued on again. Really strange.
Later, they discovered the stranger had left a note in the mailbox.
And here's the other thing in red. The end with XOXO. Well, I think it's a threat. I don't know.
Soon after, Marshall posted another video capturing rhythmic banging echoing from the basement.
Check it out. Stop.
When he peers down the stairs, there's a sudden rush of movement.
Hello?
It's as though something invisible charges toward him, but no one's there.
Hello?
In a follow-up, he tries communicating with the presence.
Knock once if you're friendly, knock twice if you're not. Oh, okay, alright, friendly.
He calls out questions, and faint tapping responses come from behind the door.
Are you from here? Okay. This is the weird part.
When he opens it, nothing.
I don't understand. Then it just stops. Nothing here.
So what exactly did Marshall stir up after his playful visit to Stacy's chair? Could something from the cemetery have attached itself to him? Or is this all an eerie coincidence fueled by local lore? And who was the figure leaving cryptic notes at his door?
Super slow. But then this is real time. They just stopped and stared at the house.
For now, the mystery remains unsolved. But if the old stories are true, perhaps some legends should be left alone.
Hello?
Now, I just want to say right now that I'm not going to put too much stock into this one, and we're just going to lightly touch on for it. Just simply with the simple fact that his first video was a skit of a fake haunting, and he talks about it being a hoax. What's to say that the other videos he's created of the aftermath isn't a hoax too? Just simply put, I mean, it's sure, yeah, it could be a FAFO situation, and we're not going to go into all of that because there's always a possibility with stuff like that because I've seen it happen. But this right here, I don't know this person. None of us know this person really. And I'm sorry, at the end of the day, you create a hoax and AI image a ghost into it because you playing around with a witch's chair. And then you have this type of stuff happen. I'm going to call you for it. You are a hoaxer. And that's it. Leave it in the comments below if you disagree or if you know this person, you know how they are. Leave it in the comments. Honestly, I ain't touching more on it. Let's move on to the next.
This eerie image comes from Reddit user Alien the Cashew, who shared a chilling story about a mysterious face appearing on their workplace security camera late at night. According to the post, the footage was captured around midnight. The camera, usually trained on a stage area inside a building over 150 years old, suddenly went dark and grainy. Moments later, a large, distinct human face appeared in the frame, lingering for nearly 15 seconds before slowly fading away to the left. The user explained that management dismissed it as pareidolia, the psychological tendency to see faces in patterns or shadows, but the poster insists it wasn't just a trick of the light. To me, it's clearly a face. Nobody was in the building, we had closed for the night. It's just super spooky, the poster said. The OP added more context later, saying that the manager snapped the photos directly from the live monitor and that a video recording may still exist. The camera is mounted roughly 12 feet high in the corner of a stage, which makes it unlikely someone could have physically stood in front of it. The building itself, once an old factory, has long been rumored to be haunted, something the OP says they've personally experienced, having felt strange sensations near that same camera before. Was it just camera interference, or something watching from the shadows of this century-old building?
And with this clip, we have reached the end of our video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, and if you have not subscribed already to this channel, please hit the subscribe button as well, because I do have a lot more of these videos and I do have a few more things lined up. Like I say, with the weather permitting and it getting a little bit warmer, I have to put a hold on those until that, a little bit nicer weather, spring maybe comes into play, and we'll go and maybe do a few other things as well. So right now I'm just doing these reaction videos, and I have a few other things that I'm working on. It's just the research is kind of a little bit more in depth than I thought it was going to be, but I'm still working on it. I had to also get a few things that I've actually talked to people in regards to some of the other videos that I am researching and setting up to do. I've talked to people who are kind of quasi-professionals in their field, so that also was a little bit harder to get around and do, you know what I mean? But anyway, I do hope y'all enjoyed this video, and let's go into this last clip right here. Now, I tell you, when I first saw this clip, I was wondering why on earth did somebody superimpose Michael Myers' face onto a video screen? That was the first thing I thought of. How many of y'all thought the same thing? Leave it in the comments below if you did, because that was the first thing I saw, was that William Shatner mask that was, the big thing for Michael Myers that he always wore, right? But it's so weird to me that the person who sent this video, I mean, they could have got a copy from their boss or something. I mean, it's not hard. Just pop that DVR, pop a DVD in that DVR. Here we go. We got this whole video, and bring in the clip with that. Make things easier, but you took a picture of it. That's just a little kind of red flags to me. What do y'all think? A little strange, right? But what can we do? We can only react and review what was shown, right? So this one here, it needs a little bit more to it, not the whole story of everything. I need to see a video to be able to really come to a better conclusion. But right now, I feel that this was like kind of photoshopped in, and that this was just something they did to pass the time and get more views. Let me know in the comments below what y'all think, and I'll see you next time.